so you have like deontology on one hand, which they, if you've ever had these philosophical conversations about ethics, deontology is like you believe things are right or wrong just as they are. Like that's just things are just right or wrong. They just are. And consequentialism, it says that things are right or wrong based on the impact that it has. So like, even if you think it's the right thing to do, it's going to hurt all these people over here. So we shouldn't do it, and it's like a tug of war between those two ideologies or not ideologies, but like perspectives, I guess you would call them. And to me, like I'm somebody who is like deontological, but with humility. Is how I think of pragmatism. It's like, yes, I think there's right and wrong to everything, but I also understand that I'm a human being and I could be wrong about that. And I think the only way that I can understand the harm that this thing might cause, and that maybe the right thing to do isn't what I thought it was, is to listen to other people and hear their stories and hear how, this thing that I think is perfectly fine might actually impact all these other things in the world. And so I think it's always important to have humility. And so, yes, I do think pragmatism is very logical in the sense that you're thinking about all of this, you're putting it all in front of you in your mind's eye, and you're trying to suss it out. But I also think that, evolution has given us these skills to determine truth, and one of those involves emotion. And I think Matt Ridley, if you want to know more about this, Matt Ridley wrote a book called On the Origin of Truth, and I think he talks about where does this come from, this mechanism that like sadness and anger and all of these things, why do we even have them? And the reason is it allows us to identify with other people. Like their experience cannot be communicated to us, except this is one of the ways that their experience can be communicated to us, and that's information. So being able to recognize that, even if you're not personally feeling what they're feeling, you can recognize it, and that can inform your opinion as well. To me, it's just additional information about whatever this subject is. So to me, I don't think you can be truly pragmatic unless you're taking in all the information, and that is just one piece of information. So,
thank you. You got me curious about a couple things. The idea of right and wrong, and also about the impact of perception. And with right or wrong, I've been having this conversation a bit lately with people on my own, and it's I think about a father who, let's say he's just down on his luck, doesn't have a job, barely getting by, has children to feed though, and they're starving, and he shoplifts at the grocery store. Was that right or wrong if he was doing it to feed his children, right? Could it be both? Is there really an absolute, and it's just, for some things it isn't black and white like that, right? Like, I think you would agree with that. It's like, if your children are starving and you just you don't have the level of awareness or intelligence to figure out another solution, that's the best you can come up with, right? Because we're all different. Yeah. Some of us would figure out a way out of it without having to steal from somebody, right? But do we fault him for not knowing any better?
Yeah.
It's just, there's a lot, to consider there. It's like recognizing everybody's in a different place, and why it's important not to judge and to recognize people are just doing the best that they can with, their level of understanding, their level of intelligence, and it's not their fault. There are, we can educate ourselves more, we can expand our understanding and our awareness, but those things take time. And typically, even though we have the ability to stimulate ourselves from within, many of us are stimulated by what's without, right? Like something
Hmm.
happens in the external world, it's like, oh, that's inspiring me to go change or take action versus thinking I can just change on my own, because I want to. So I'm these are not easy conversations because I realize
Yeah.
like it's just I'm thinking out loud that I appreciate this